Good morning, everybody. Andrew Bridgen MP, who is in the fake Conservative Party, has been kicked out of the fake Conservative Party, or at least he's lost the whip, which means he's not part of the party in Parliament, and he's been sent into the wilderness by the party for apparently saying something which they found deplorable. Now, what he actually said was a tweet. And he tweeted, of course, as you may know, as one consultant cardiologist said, "To me, this is the biggest crime against humanity since the Holocaust." Now, he's obviously talking about injections. And over the last 2 years, a lot of people in the UK, a lot of people around the world have been injected with experimental genetic material. And that's what he's describing here. Now, the evidence is that there are lots of people falling over on sports fields and sports pitches around the world. In fact, the statistics show that the rate of heart attacks among sports players over the last 2 years is 38 times the rate of heart attacks before 2021, which coincides with the start of injections. That's just a statistic. Okay, we know that people report adverse health events are in the UK on the yellow card system, in the USA on the VAERS system, and there have been more reports there were more reports in 2021, the first year since injections started, than in all of the previous 15 years combined. So there's just 2 bits of data which are not contested by anybody. They're official bits of data on government reporting facilities and also by very good statistical analysis. So he's conjecturing that this is actually causing a lot of injury and perhaps excess mortality. We know in the UK excess mortality is running over 10% week by week over the 5-year average, and that is happening in many, many other countries around the world. Germany, I think, is 13%, Australia 10%, Taiwan's over 20%, and this has been since the beginning of 2021, which again coincides with the start of injections. So he said this, but where they're getting him on is he mentioned the word Holocaust. He said it's a crime against humanity, or actually he quoted that someone else said it was the worst crime against humanity since the Holocaust. Now, the fake Conservative Party, the UK government, didn't like that. So they booted him out of the party, and the previous health ministers and the current Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, have been lining up to condemn him. I mean, one of them, Midazolam Matt Hancock, has said he's disgusting, anti-Semitic, anti-vaxxer conspiracy theorists. There you go, you got the whole caboodle of smears and insults in one sentence from the guy who put 10,000 people in care homes where they were put on the end-of-life care pathway and given midazolam, which finished those people off. So, who's the bad person in all of this? I think we all know the answer. Rishi Sunak again says this is unacceptable, and the smears of being anti-Semitic come thick and fast. But what he said was not in any way anti-Semitic. He was just quoting somebody else and saying that this, making the point that this is a very serious thing that is going on. Shouldn't we be looking at what's happening? Now, of course, everyone will say correlation is not causation. But if there's all these things happening, even if you want to hold your judgment on this, wouldn't you want to investigate and see what is causing an increase in mortality of 10% above the 5-year average that has been consistent over 2 years and is increasing. You'd want to know what that is, and you would use Occam's razor to say, well, what happened 2 years ago? There's only one thing that changed 2 years ago, and that's it. It didn't change in 2020 when there was the lockdown, but it started to change in 2021. So let's just investigate this. Even if you want to hold judgment, let's hypothesize what's going on, what's the most likely thing, and then say, well, let's stop this from happening. Now, Andrew Bridgen MP has been speaking out for the last month. That's good. But there's been people who've been speaking out from the very beginning. And, in the last month, well, it's a little bit late because, 50 million people in the UK have been injected. So it's too late to speak out for all of them. The people who are speaking out at the very beginning, as I was, are people that I wish we were listened to 2 years ago. Then maybe we could have avoided this situation of ongoing and growing excess mortality and an increase in myocarditis and pericarditis and Bell's palsy, strokes, and all of these other things that are happening. So that's the situation that is going on. But they speak about Andrew Bridgen as if he's like stirring up hatred against a certain group of people by calling him anti-Semitic, which is just nonsense. I mean, even a lot of Jewish commentators are coming out and saying he's not. He's just talking about medical statistics based on data and evidence. Even in the evidence of the pharmaceutical companies themselves who manufactured these injections, actually their own data, which was suppressed initially, shows that there are safety issues with these things. And in previous years, where there have been safety issues, vaccines have been withdrawn even after 3 or 4 people died. With this, there's been many, many more people, and they're still going on. Why on earth is this happening? But the people who really have been stirring up hatred, if you like, are those who call me and others, and are now calling Andrew Bridgen these names, and in the past 2 years, I've been called all kinds of things. I've been called a conspiracy theorist as well. I've been called a granny killer. And even worse, some of these people have been calling us super spreaders, doing the same things, trying to make out that people who are not injected are actually responsible for spreading disease, which is an absolute calumny, an absolute lie. So it's those people who are stirring up hatred, not Andrew Bridgen, not me, and not anybody else who's been speaking out and questioning the official lines coming from government and media. So that's the situation we have at the moment, and this is where we are. An MP who maybe should have spoken up earlier, should have spoken up 2 years ago. I don't know why he didn't, why he's waited for 2 years to speak out. Maybe it's been burning in his conscience and it's just got so much and so overwhelming that he's decided, I can't keep it in, I have to speak out. Maybe he's just seen new data and new evidence that wasn't given to him before, and he's decided to speak out on that. I must say, I don't know him. I know people who do know him, but I don't know him personally. So I don't know what his motivations are for keeping quiet for 2 years and then for speaking out now at this point. But certainly we can see if you're an MP, you're in the fake Conservative Party, or you're in the Labour Party, I imagine you're in the Lib Dems or the Green or the SNP, you have to toe the party line. And part of towing the party line is that you follow exactly what they tell you to say on lockdowns, on masks, on injections, and so on. I remember when 2 years ago, I was in the London Assembly. I questioned Sadiq Khan on this, and I was ridiculed roundly as an anti-vaxxer and a conspiracy theorist. I questioned Nadeem Zahawi about adverse health effects, and he gave a sort of answer that said, oh, no, they're actually really good. That's all fine. We're doing really good job and everything. But afterwards, people were actually asking the question, should people who spread disinformation be put in jail? What are you going to do about stopping misinformation and arresting and jailing those people? Actually, other people on the assembly sitting next to me were actually questioning Nadeem Zahawi about jailing people who had my opinion. It's really, that was how bad and how visceral people were against me and others who had the opposite opinion or just didn't agree with the mainstream media line. I had one person, actually, I do remember this, someone that I know, is sort of in another party, and she actually questioned and said, well, we all agree except our one colleague here. Can we not get him in a room and hear what he has to say so that we can correct him and put him right? As though I needed some kind of re-education for using my own mind and not go along with the behavioural psychologists' nudges and following the line on all of this. Because obviously I have a background in science, got a degree in chemistry. I was a science teacher for many years before I got into politics. So I can see immediately where people are twisting science and twisting data. Maybe some of these MPs, no, they're not the brightest bunch of people in the world, so maybe they can't see it. But really, they should be, because they are there to actually do a job on behalf of the people and make sure that our freedoms are maintained. So, there you go. There you have it. This is the situation at the moment. An MP who's decided finally to speak out about this and talk about injection injuries has been kicked out of his party, and therefore he will not be able to stand and represent that party, the fake Conservative Party, in the next general election. But maybe that's a good thing. If I don't think they're going to do very well in the next general election anyway, I think they're going to go right down the pan. And we need a new party to come up in the UK. As I say, that's the Heritage Party. We're here for your freedom, for medical autonomy. We are against medical apartheid and all these kind of things. And we will make sure there is never, ever any other lockdown comes on our nation. And any of these terrible things that have happened in the last 3 years will be a thing of the past with us forever. So please come and join me in the Heritage Party and stand for us as a candidate in the next elections, including the local elections. We need to see the back of the fake Conservative Party, who muzzle anybody who doesn't toe the line on these things, and also the other parties, Labour, etc., who would be just the same. We need to get rid of them all and put in place systems and laws which are for the people and not against the people.